All right, so it's a big day in America today, right? Inauguration Day, MLK Day, college football national championship. But you know what we got going this morning, guys? We've got college basketball. Come on now. Every single day on the channel until March Madness, college basketball best bets. And I want to thank you guys for the support daily here for the college best bet videos. We are on a hot streak right now. We have not had a negative day in a minute. I think we've had like one negative day in the last week. So we've been hot right now, and knock on wood that today is not the day. But let's continue the hot streak here on the 20th of January. It's a Monday, and let's start the week off right. And folks, if you have not yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets on the channel. Tomorrow we go back to the normal time for this video dropping, but I might do 8 a.m. instead. I might. We're posting this at 7 a.m. just because the NBA is starting earlier today. I might make the daily time for college basketball videos 8 a.m. If you have a preference, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or I guess like this video, 7 a.m. Obviously, I'm talking about all West Coast times. Let me know in the comment section down below if you have a preference. If not, just say no preference. I legitimately want to know when you guys rather me post this. 7 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then NBA will stay at 10 a.m. regardless. So let's get into it, folks. Also, again, the NBA predictions coming out later today, but make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and leave a like. It really helps out the channel a lot if you do subscribe. Also, we got you covered all day long with bets. I'm going to go over our 5 best bets for today, and literally, I mean, they are, it is a back-to-back slate today. We really don't have overlapping games, so we got you covered all day long. We also got you covered for the college football national championship game. That prediction is linked in the description down below. Let's get into it. Our first best bet of the video goes with this game here in Wilmington, North Carolina. We will start and end the day in North Carolina. Again, we'll get to that final best bet for our 6 p.m. game, but we start off with the William and Mary Tribe going to Wilmington, North Carolina, to the Trask Coliseum to take on the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. Is everything a Coliseum in North Carolina? Just like hold on. Just like, I feel like every non-major arena, well, the Greensboro Coliseum is a major arena in North Carolina, but I feel like everything's called a Coliseum in North Carolina. Well, okay, the Spectrum Center is Spectrum Center. I'm rattling this off like because of my knowledge of pro wrestling, but like the Greensboro Coliseum, there's the Trask Coliseum here in Wilmington, and then isn't there the Bojangles Coliseum as well? I think that's in North Carolina. I don't know. Okay, William and Mary taking on UNC Wilmington. It's a big game in the CAA, right? UNC Wilmington's a 3-2 team in the CAA, and William and Mary, the Tribe, are the only undefeated team in the conference. And we picked them in their last game, their win over Hampton. We got them -2.5. The game closed at 4.5, but when we got it at 2.5, we hit because William and Mary won the game by 3 points at Hampton. And we're rolling with the Tribe again. I don't mind this spot at all. They're going to the UNC Wilmington Seahawks, not a bad basketball team at all, right? This is a team that's been very good out of conference this year. They're a 13-5 team, right? Non-conference-wise, they beat Sam Houston, they beat App State, they beat East Carolina, they beat Marshall, did lose to Howard, who's not very good, but beat Florida Gulf Coast, who can be good sometimes, beat Georgia Southern, but once they've gotten to CAA play, 3-2 losses to Townsend at home and to Hofstra at home. Their wins are going to be Campbell at Monmouth and then Northeastern. Again, they haven't played, I guess, the elite yet of the conference other than Townsend, but here you go. They're taking on the William and Mary Tribe. Right now, the best team record-wise in the CAA, I would still think it's Charleston, who, we'd say is the best team in the conference, but hey, William and Mary 5-0 in conference. They came into conference play, 6-7? Now they're 11-7. I understand, again, they've had games in between, but still, right? This was a team that was under 500 before we got into CAA play. And look at the Tribe, man. I get it, their non-conference run wasn't the best, but we're at this point of the season where non-conference games, unless we're talking about the elite teams, they really don't matter, if we're just being honest. It's really what have you done recently and what have you done in conference games, and the Tribe have done nothing but win. I mean, it's that simple. I know they're going on the road in the spot. We picked them to win on the road in their last game, and we're doubling down. We're going to say they're going to win again on the road. They got to go to Wilmington to play this basketball game, and I'm fine with it. Again, I like this William and Mary team. We saw Mateus Case, a guy who averages 7 points a game for the Tribe, scored 18 in their victory. in their last one against Hampton. I mean, guys are stepping up to the occasion for William & Mary, and actually, we're going to be talking about Hampton, the Pirates, later on in this video, so stay tuned to that. But William & Mary's played good basketball this year. Noah Collier leads them in both points and rebounds. It's a guy that averages 12 and 5 for this Tribe squad. And for the Seahawks of UNC Wilmington, led by Donovan Newby, a guy who's averaging 16 points a game. Kamari McGriff averages 10 as well. He's their other, big-time player on this basketball team. But Newby's going to do most of your scoring, of course. Again, the Seahawks, they're just a middle-of-the-pack team in the CAA. They've been without Elijah Jamison as one of their starting guards. They've been without him since the very beginning of the season. He played the first 4 games, and he's been out ever since. And Wilmington's been dealing with injuries all season long. But again, you get McGriff, who can pop off, and he had 34, I believe, in one game earlier this year. And you got Newby again, who averages 16. But ultimately, I just think the Tribe are the better basketball team. Again, guys, this is a 5-0 team in conference this year. And they've beaten some decent teams as well. Again, overall, you got Hofstra, Stony Brook, Elon, which is probably their best win, North Carolina A&T, and Hampton. And sure, they're winning these games by 2 points. They're winning them by 3 points, but we only need them to cover... Oh, they're underdogs in this spot. I got this mixed up. Yeah, they're getting 5.5 points at UNC Wilmington. I'm not gonna lie, I got my spreads mixed up for the final game of the video. It's 2.5. That's why I had that in my mind. The other game in a Coliseum, actually it's not in the Coliseum. The other North Carolina basketball game, it's in the same conference. I'll just say it now. It's Hampton, North Carolina A&T. We'll get to that later. Okay, yeah, William & Mary's getting 5.5 points at UNC Wilmington. Okay, guys, we're not playing the money line, all right? We're playing the spread. Plus 5.5, I think, is ridiculous for a team that is undefeated in conference. Again, I understand UNC Wilmington being the favorites in this game. I actually do. But 5.5 points, I just think that's too many. I really think it is. I think this is a game that William & Mary can win. But on top of that, we only need them to cover 5.5 points. I mean, come on now. Come on now. We don't need them to cover anything. So again, they're winning these games by 2 points. They're winning them by 3 points. That's fine. If they just win the game outright against the Seahawks, we win. If you want to take the plus 180, take it. Personally, I'm going to stay away. I'm just going to take plus 5.5. But I'm fine with either, really. But again, I think the much safer bet is obviously to take the Tribe on the points just to kick off the day. I'm going with William & Mary. Again, they have not lost in conference yet this year. They've not lost since December 22nd. And I get it. Their non-conference schedule wasn't the best, but they've not lost a game since December 29th. Right? They beat Navy before going into conference play, and they haven't lost since. William & Mary's played good basketball this season, and they're dogs in this game. They're getting 5.5 points on the road. And I wanna clarify something real quick here, guys. My terminology for getting points or receiving points. Okay, I'm gonna clarify this very quickly. I just say. Okay, and I should probably get this right in my mind. When I say a team's getting 5.5 points, okay, I just take it either way. Like, if William & Mary, if I say, again, in this spot, they're getting 5.5 points, I mean, they're, that's just the amount of points they're getting on the road. Again, UNC Wilmington, if I said they're getting 5.5 points, I am thinking they are minus 5.5 point favorites. Again, that is the wrong terminology. That means what? They need to cover 5.5. I'll be honest, I don't know the terminology on that. Okay, that's my fault. So again, if I said that yesterday against Michigan State, if I said they're getting 3.5 points at home, that's my fault. But again, just what I was thinking was that they're 3.5 point favorites. So again, if I mess up and misspeak about that, that's my fault. Anyways, I believe the proper terminology for this is William & Mary's getting 5.5 points on the road here. I should just say plus 5.5 point favorites. They're plus 5.5 point dogs, as I've been saying it my entire life. So give me the Tribe on the road here to cover the line here against the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. Next up, we move on to a game here between Lamar and Nicholls here in the David R. Stouffer Gymnasium in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Give me the Colonels of Nicholls here in the Southland Conference. Actually a pretty big game conference-wise here. Lamar's 4-3. The Colonels are 5-2, but I don't really understand this line. Nicholls are 2.5 point favorites, I believe, in this basketball game. 3.5 point favorites, excuse me. But Lamar's lost 3 in a row, and it's not like they've been losing to the juggernauts of the conference. Sure, their last loss is a 11-point loss on the road to McNeese, who they are obviously the best team in the Southland Conference. After watching them a couple times this year, yes, I can say McNeese is by far better than anybody else in the conference, but that's fine. Lamar going to McNeese and losing, but they lost at home back-to-back spots to Stephen F. Austin, who was 1-6. Their only victory in conference is Lamar, who was 4-3, started the year 4-0 in the conference. So Stephen F. Austin goes to Lamar and beats them by 9 points. And then the Privateers of New Orleans go to Lamar and win the game as well by 6. They're a 2-5 team in conference. They're 4-14 as a whole this season. And I've watched the New Orleans Privateers this year. They're not great. So Lamar's been very disappointing recently. That's why I'm more than shocked that the Colonels are only 3.5-point favorites at home. I am shocked. This is a team that's 11-7 this year. They are 5-2 as a whole. Their losses in the conference are Northwestern State, which isn't ideal, but honestly, they're not that bad. And then, of course, McNeese on the road. That's fine. Nicholls hasn't lost at home all year in conference play. They lost to Townsend, I believe, earlier this year at home, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they lost to Townsend, and they lost to South Alabama at home. But in conference play, the Colonels are undefeated, beating Stephen F. Austin. Beating, actually, they've gotten, the Privateers, and they beat Southeastern Louisiana at home as well in conference play. On the road, again, they're 2-2, but it is what it is, losing to McNeese and Northwestern State, and then beating East Texas A&M on the road, as well as Incarnate Word. The Colonels can score. They can. And they've got a guy who, Robert Brown is not the Colonels' leading scorer, but he will just randomly have nights where he pops off for 30+. Randomly. Like, again, he'll have nights where he'll just hit his average of about 12, but every once in a while, Robert Brown, like he did a couple games ago, will explode for 35 points. Byron Ireland is this team's leading scorer. He averages 14 points a game. Yeah, I mean, Ireland is their best guy. He put 17 up on Stephen F. Austin, their other game where they won by 12 points. But yes, randomly, again, you will get Brown III, who will erupt for a crazy point total for the Colonels. But Lamar's just been struggling recently. Again, those 3 straight losses aren't all that encouraging. They're led by Alexis Marmologis. I probably butchered his name, but the guy's averaging 15 points a game. Deshaun Jackson averages 11, and Andrew Holyfield averages 11 as well. But Marmolejos, I think that's how you pronounce that, dropped 20 in the McNeese game. Again, he's probably the most consistent scorer on this Lamar Cardinals team, but I don't trust a Lamar squad that's just lost 3 straight games. I just don't. I don't trust them going into a road environment here against the Nicholls Colonels. I just don't like it. I like the Colonels a lot in this spot, and I don't really understand the line. -3.5. Again, Lamar has lost 3 in a row. They went on the road and lost by 11. At home, they lost back-to-back games by 9 and 6, and I get it. They put in an impressive body of work prior to that this year in conference play, right? Beating Texas A&M Corpus Christi, beating UT Rio Grande Valley on the road and blowing them out by 20+ points, beating Houston Christian, beating Incarnate Word. But what have you done recently? You've lost 3 straight games, and you're telling me they're going to go on the road and beat the Colonels in this spot? I don't think so. I really don't. I'm going to take the Nicholls Colonels in this basketball game. I think they will cover the 3.5 points at home. And I think, again, they'll win. I think about by 6-ish points. I think the Colonels will get it. Maybe more. Again, Lamar just hasn't been playing good basketball. And Nicholls is the better team. So give me the Colonels at home. They will cover the 3.5 points, and they will win the game outright, obviously, as well. Next up, we go to the SWAC. Now, okay. Full transparency, we haven't touched the SWAC in a week. I believe the last time we went to the SWAC conference was last Monday, a week from today, and we didn't have a great day in the SWAC conference. So we're going back to it. Why? Because Jackson State has to lose, guys. They are so due for a loss. I refuse to believe Jackson State starting the year 5-0 in the SWAC conference, and this is the perfect spot for them to lose. They're taking on Texas Southern, who I think is a better team than them. Texas Southern's lost 1 game all year long in the SWAC conference, and that's to the team that I think is going to win the SWAC this season and represent the conference in the NCAA tournament, and that's Southern, okay? Texas Southern, since the Southern loss, is 3-0. They are 3-1 in conference play, but again, since the Southern loss, they beat Grambling, they beat Mississippi Valley State, and they beat Alcorn State. I understand those are not the best teams. They haven't played another one of their, one of the SWAC's other decent teams. We're talking right now, Bethune-Cookman and Alabama State are probably the next best teams in the conference. Potentially Alabama A&M as well. They have some potential. They do, and we'll get to Alabama A&M's performance last week against Jackson State in a second. But this is it's a huge spot for Texas Southern, right? They get Jackson State, who's 4-0 this year. Jackson State started the year 0-13. They win 4 in a row in conference play, and now they're 4-13 as a whole. This Texas Southern Tigers team is led by Kavion McLean. He's averaging 13 points per game. Zaire Hayes is averaging 10 points a game, and Kenny Hunter is giving them 9. And they're hosting Jackson State in this spot. Again, Jackson State, a team that started the year 0-13. They've won won 4 in a row. They beat Alcorn on the road. We picked against them there. They beat Alabama State. They win that one. We pick against them in the Alabama A&M game. We just need Alabama A&M to cover, what, 8.5 points I think we have? The game goes to triple overtime, and Alabama A&M finds a way to lose by 10. Oh my, oh man. When I was watching that Mississippi State game the other day, I was getting PTSD that was going to happen to us. I know it never got close to that with Ole Miss the other day, but man, I was just like, we can't have a repeat of Jackson State and Alabama A&M. That's just going to become a thing now. Every time I watch an overtime game where I think we have it covered easily, like I don't want to see it keep going in overtime because we can't have a repeat of that game. And then Jackson State on Saturday, 2 days ago, they went to Prairie View A&M and won. But Jackson State has to remain on the road. They just played on Saturday. Texas Southern was at home for their game against Alcorn State. So a lot of travel for Jackson State. Now they got to go on the road to Texas Southern after playing Prairie View. I think it's a difficult spot. I think it is, because I think Texas Southern's pretty good, right? Other than the Southern loss, they've been really good in conference. Non-conference schedule, okay. They didn't win a game against another Division I school. They beat Texas A&M San Antonio. They beat Texas A&M Kingsville, and they beat the College of Biblical Studies. Now, I didn't know that Texas A&M was just like a, it's like the UC system, I guess, is the Texas A&M system, or are those just alternate locations like IU Indianapolis is? I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how Texas schools work. I've only been to Texas for one night. I got stuck in Dallas trying to get back to school in the Midwest. They just left me in Dallas for a night. Regardless, they put me in a bad part of Dallas too. I think I was low-key kind of shook. I ain't gonna lie. I was in like a Motel 6. It was bad. Thanks, American Airlines. Anyways, Texas Southern. I think they win this game. I really think so. Again, they've done pretty well in SWAC play since the Southern loss, and Southern's the best team in the conference. And you take all this into account, Jackson State's got to remain on the road. They just played 2 days ago. Now you got to, continue your road trip. Go to Texas Southern, who hasn't traveled at all. They just won their last game at home. Jackson State, again, on paper, this team isn't the most impressive, but they find ways to win. You got to give a lot of credit to Deshaun Ruffin, who's just come back. Their 5'11 junior guard has been great. He's basically came back for SWAC play a little bit earlier than that, but he's been back. And, Ruffin's played 7 games this year, and Jackson State has a winning record when he plays. He's 4-3. He's been their leading scorer, right? You get Jamie Mitchell, you get Dorian McMillan, but again, it is Deshaun Ruffin who is their best guy. I just think, again, Texas Southern gets the game at home. Jackson State's been on the road, and I think Southern's good. It's just Texas Southern's good. And I think Southern's good too, and that's Texas Southern's only loss. So I think everything kind of adds up to me personally for a Texas Southern victory here. They're 2.5 point favorites here at home. I think they cover that fairly easily. -145. Give me the Texas Southern Tigers to win the game and cover the 2.5 at home as well. Let's go on to our 4th best bet of the video. It's the biggest name game today in the Big Ten. We love some Big Ten basketball. Probably not another conference that I watch more than the Big Ten, maybe the Mountain West. There is a Mountain West game today, but it's Fresno State, New Mexico. It's 20.5 the line. What am I going to do with that? I can't confidently tell you New Mexico is going to cover that in the pit. I think they do, but that's not a confident play at all. I was at the first Fresno State New Mexico game this year, and Fresno State covered the 14.5 points with a seriously last second lay-in. I don't know. I'm not going to pick that Mountain West game today. Instead, we're going to go to the Big Ten. Rutgers and Penn State. I was thinking about Georgetown, Villanova today, but I'm like, you know what? I can't. I would think Villanova covers 8.5, but who knows? Georgetown, they just lost to DePaul, so maybe they're due for one. I don't know. I just staying away from that as well. And shout out to Norfolk State. They're playing Washington Adventist today. English. It's hard sometimes. Anyways, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Guys, Rutgers, you better show up to the damn occasion here. Seriously. Rutgers back-to-back victories. We stay away from Rutgers for a little bit, right? We picked a lot of Rutgers basketball early in Big Ten play, and it didn't really go our way, right? I was like, all right, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, these guys are great. The rest of the team isn't. But I was like, all right, 2 of the best players in the Big Ten, these guys can pull off victories. They didn't earlier in the year when we picked them. They're due now. Well, no, they're not due. They've been performing. Back-to-back victories. They beat UCLA. Ace Bailey drops 20. They beat Nebraska on the road. Ace Bailey with 24 and 11. By the way, Ace Bailey in that UCLA game, 20 and 10. Dylan Harper obviously has been very good as well. Really, 70% of Rutgers scoring comes from Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. That's just what it is. But they've put together back-to-back victories now, and now they're on the road, and they are 6.5 point dogs. Sign me up. Sign me up. Why? Penn State's lost 4 in a row. They've been very disappointing. Ever since they beat Northwestern, they can't win a game. They hosted Indiana. Mike Woodson brought his guys into Penn State and won the game by 6 points. They went to Illinois, they got killed. They played Oregon, sure, competitive basketball game, but Oregon wins. And they go to Michigan State, they go to East Lansing, and the Spartans beat them by 5. Again, competitive basketball games, sure. But we just need Rutgers to be competitive with Penn State. Kind of similar to that Nebraska game we picked yesterday. We just said, hey, Nebraska needs to go to College Park. They need to go to Maryland, just keep the game close. And that's what they did. Now, Michigan State almost covered for us yesterday, but couldn't get it done is what it is. They won, didn't cover, but it's fine. We just need Rutgers to keep this game close. 6.5 points. I think Rutgers is able to keep up with Penn State. Guys, Penn State's so inconsistent. Everyone on this team is inconsistent. And it all starts with their best player, the leader of this team, who is very inconsistent. It's Ace Baldwin. Some nights, Ace Baldwin's great. Legitimately. It reminds me of early season Jalen Green for the Houston Rockets this year. Now, if you watch the NBA Predictions Daily, I'm done hating on Jalen Green. I'm hopping on the Rockets bandwagon. Not really, but kind of. But early in the year, Jalen Green would have nights where he dropped 40 points, and the other night he'd have 8. Now, Ace Baldwin obviously is that to, a very, lesser degree, obviously. But Ace Baldwin, right, the loss at Illinois, they go to a ranked team. He plays 15 minutes, and he scores 0 points. But then in the game in East Lansing, he plays 40 minutes and scores 20 points. So, I don't understand. And yes, it is an accumulation of volume at sometimes for Ace Baldwin where he's able to score, but he's very off and on. And really, this entire team is just some nights guys will have their nights, and I get it, that's just college basketball, but there's no consistency with any of these guys. And it starts with Ace Baldwin, it goes to Nick Kern, Zach Hicks at times as well. There's zero consistency out of Penn State, and you don't know which team you're going to get coming out that locker room. So that's why we're going to take Rutgers here, because again, I don't care if Penn State wins. It just, as long as Rutgers is able to cover the 6.5 points, we should be fine here. Every Big Ten game that Penn State has played this season, their opponent has covered this line, except for the one that we took Purdue at Penn State, and Penn State beats Purdue, who's probably the best team right now in the Big Ten, by 11 points. I don't understand. These two teams played earlier this year. December 10th, in Rutgers at the Jersey Mike's Arena, Penn State loses the game by 4 points. Do we think we get an 11-point swing this time around just because the game's in Pennsylvania? I don't think so. I'm not telling you Rutgers is going to win. Again, I don't care who wins. I just, literally the minus 290 there is just there because if I had to put my life savings on it, sure, I'd probably take Penn State to win the basketball game. But again, that's not a confident pick. My more confident pick is plus 6.5 Rutgers. I really like that. I really like Rutgers to go in here and just keep the game close. Again, we've gotten huge nights recently at Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey's been great in Big Ten play this year. We just need more of that same effort. We need Dylan Harper to be good as well. And we just need the rest of the team to just support their 2-star players. That's all we need out the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. It's all we need. So let's hope we get it. Give me Rutgers are on the road. Plus 6.5 is the play. Don't care who wins. Just need Rutgers to keep it close. Penn State's been bad recently. Sure, they've been playing competitive basketball games, but hey, if they play another competitive basketball game here, we're perfectly fine with it. Just give me Rutgers to cover, keep the game close. Give me the Scarlet Knights on the road at Penn State. Let's go to our final game of the video. Yes, I did get a little bit mixed up earlier. Let's go to Greensboro, North Carolina for North Carolina A&T and Hampton. So yes, we start the video with the CAA and we are going to end the video with the CAA. I like the value on Hampton. I really do. I know they're a road team in this spot. They're going to North Carolina A&T, but they're only 2.5-point favorites here in this spot. And I kind of like that. It's just North Carolina A&T's bad. They're 0-6 this year in conference. These two teams have played earlier in the year. They went to Hampton to play that game, and the Pirates beat the Aggies by 11 points. I get it, the game's in Greensboro this time, but North Carolina A&T is 0-6 this year. They have won one game since the month of November, which is their only win is December 28th against North Carolina Central. Prior to that, their last victory is again November 20th versus the Morgan State Bears. They've won 4 games all year long. Again, the 2 games we previously mentioned, they went to the Citadel and won, and they beat Cheney School in Pennsylvania. What the hell is that? Good question, I don't know. So again, the Aggies have not been good. They are 0-6 in conference play this year. They started by losing to Hampton, right? And that game was in December. Then they lost to Elon, they lost to Drexel, lose at Delaware, lose at William & Mary, and they host Monmouth in their last game on Thursday and lose. Team can't win. They put up points. Yes, North Carolina A&T can score, but they don't play defense at the same exact time. They don't play defense. They've got guys, again, who can put the ball in the hoop. We're talking about Ryan Forrest, who averages 19 points a game. We're talking about Landon Glasper, who's averaging 18. Jonathan Lamoth, who's averaging 11.5. They've got guys who can score, but Hampton should be able to score as well. Now, again, when we look at straight averages, sure, again, the A&T Aggies do score more points than Hampton, which is fine, but at the same time, Hampton plays better defense than North Carolina A&T. They just do. Again, Noah Farrakin, probably butchered that, who does lead the Hampton Pirates in scoring. He's their guard at a Newark, who averages 13 points a game. George Beal Jr. averages 12.5. Kyrus Mullen averages 9. Again, Hampton, we last saw them in that game against William & Mary, right? And that's why I feel all right in picking the Pirates in this spot. We saw them in a competitive spot against William & Mary, the best team, second best team in the conference, obviously behind Charleston, I think. Yeah. I got this conference mixed up with the one with I'm blanking. McNeese, right? But regardless, yeah, William & Mary probably the second best team in the CAA. And Hampton was competitive. They get that game at home. They only lose it by 3. I mean, you're telling me they're not going to go on the road to a team that's 0-6 in conference and not beat them by more than 3 points? I don't think so. And yeah, what the argument is for the Aggies is, sure, they usually score a lot of points, and that's fair. But the first time we saw these two teams play, right? Hampton at home, they rose to the occasion and they scored a bunch of points as well, right? I mean, Beal with 25 in that game. Tyler Rice played 28 minutes, scored 17 points. Noah Farrakin, I mean, you're not going to see that guy score 11 points in 34 minutes usually, and that's what he did in that game, and Hampton still won the game by 11 points. So I really don't think, I don't think that this whole notion that, North Carolina A&T, and I don't know if this is an agenda being pushed, I doubt it, but this is why I'm trying to rationalize the line here. If North Carolina A&T can score, they can keep up, which is fair. I just think Hampton's the better team, and I think, again, they play better defense than North Carolina A&T. And the reason why the Aggies, all their lines are so high is because they run a 6-7-man rotation. Really, it's a 6-man rotation. Sometimes you get the 7th guy coming in. So that's why all their starters average, 18 points, 15, 14. But they just, again, and Hampton plays 10 guys. So I'm okay with this spot. I really am. I like Hampton in this one. Going on the road, they're 2.5-point favorites. They should be able to cover this line in our nightcap tonight in the CAA conference. So folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets for college basketball here on January 20th. If you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.